Do you suffer from stress, anxiety, or depression? Do you find it hard to focus or to contain your emotions? Any of these things can take you down. So, what then are your personal health practices? If you don't yet have an integral or holistic wellness practice, you're in the right place. Podcast host Susan Axelrod, the confidence coach, has been practicing holistic wellness for 25 years. Along the way, Qigong and Tai Chi found her. After tiptoeing in, she dove into a committed practice and became a teacher and integral wellness consultant. She'll tell you Qigong and Tai Chi changed her life. In this podcast, she interviews practitioners, inviting them to share their stories about how these practices changed their lives too. Go grab your journal. At the top of a clean page, write down, I want to feel better. Then take a breath and tune in to see if Qigong and Tai Chi can help. Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of this important podcast conversation series where I am interviewing Qigong and Tai Chi practitioners. Today, I am truly delighted to have as my guest one of my own teachers, Jessica Kolbe. As you know, if you have been following this series, I am going to read her bio to you directly so that you can realize and understand who are the people who practice these special modalities. Jessica Kolbe is an educator in the health and wellness field. She is a level 3 certified Tai Chi and Qigong instructor. Jessica is on the faculty for the Institute of Qigong and Tai Chi, the IIQTC, an organization that trains future Qigong and Tai Chi instructors. She leads certification trainings all over the United States and abroad. Jessica has led corporate workshops for United Way, the Santa Barbara Zoo, Procore, Citrix Online, and Cottage Hospital. Her workshops provide the corporate teams with techniques to reduce stress, increase focus, and improve overall health and productivity. She has led weekly classes at colleges, local parks, and is a popular teacher at local senior living facilities. She has led 3 trips to China, 2 trips to Bali, and this year she will be leading a trip to Japan. She has also been a Tai Chi teacher at the Semester at Sea. Hello, Jessica. Welcome.
Hi, Susan. It's so good to see you. And I love it that you're flourishing and bringing this content out because all of us have different stories. But we all found these beautiful practices. So thank you for including me.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you. I want to say to you and to our viewers and listeners that you were one of my first teachers. I am a student of the IIQTC, the Institute for Integral Qigong and Tai Chi. And in my level 1 certification, you were one of the teachers. And all of the teachers really made such an impact, really a deep and lasting impact on my life, such that I'm here now. I told you I completed my level 2. The head of the Institute, Dr. Roger Yanka, knows when level 3 comes out, I will be there. And so that's because I personally had great teachers. And that's really why this really truly is an honor. Also, as we were discussing before we just came online, you've been doing this a long time. So I had to truncate your bio, but I am really interested in the kinds of things you've been doing. But let's just get started with the question, how has Qigong or Tai Chi changed your life?
It's such a big question because it's changed my life in infinite ways. I think we all come to Tai Chi and Qigong by different paths. I was in 1997 or 1998. I just tried a Tai Chi class with my mom. My mom was practicing and with her friends, and I went and I thought it was very beautiful and relaxing, but it didn't grab me. I didn't really know what I was doing. And at that time, I was an interior designer here in Santa Barbara and working with high-end people in Montecito, famous names and stuff. And it was a pretty stressful job and lots of money and lots of, timing. And I was looking for something. I didn't know what it was. And I knew it was energy. I wanted to work with energy. I loved Kung Fu movies. And I can see energy. I can sense energy. I can feel energy. But my first Qigong class was, I can move energy. And it was just a wonderful class. We had some animal frolics, which is where we embody the animals and we embody the traits of the animals. And I loved the imagination and visualization. I could be a bear, I could be a deer, I could be a phoenix. I mean, how exciting to be immortal and to rise out of the ashes from old trauma. So it really spurred my imagination. And I was healthy. I wasn't, a lot of people come to Qigong and Tai Chi because they have physical issues. I've been really healthy, blessed my whole life, and
Mm.
I didn't have any physical issues. But I did have a lot of emotional issues, which I
Aha.
didn't want to address or just put it back. I was 40 when I came to this. So um, I loved my teacher. I loved how I felt after the classes. And at that time, 25, 6 years ago in Santa Barbara, there were 8 to 10 different Tai Chi and Qigong teachers. No, specifically Qigong teachers. So I was going to classes 4 or 5 times a week and experiencing different teachers. And I did that for 10 years and loved it. And one day my husband and I were talking, and he loved yoga and I loved Qigong. And we said, why don't we become teachers? So it was kind of on a whim. I went on the internet in 2008 and saw Institute of Integral Qigong and Tai Chi, become a teacher. And I called the number uh, and Roger Yonka picked up. And he said, we have a level 1 training in Texas coming up. And back then, all the trainings were in
In
person.
person.
And so it was a week-long retreat. And I fell in love and I came back with, as you know, several different forms, a much greater understanding of what I had been doing for the last 10 years and started teaching right away. And I never looked back. And then level 2, level 3 were all in person. And at that time, the Institute of Integral Qigong and Tai Chi had our level 2 in Santa Barbara. And just because I was local, I went to about 5 or 6 different level 2s and got to know a lot of people. And
Oh,
then at the end of one of them, Roger was saying, Dr. Roger Yonka, was saying, we need I need an assistant. It's really hard to find an assistant, who understands Qigong and Tai Chi. And I raised my little hand. And so for the next 2 years, I was Roger's assistant and learned a ton behind the scenes,
right.
how to work with people, how to speak with people. Um, and of course, I had wonderful opportunities because of Roger. And but in the meantime, I was out there. I was teaching, and when you're doing the right thing, when you're doing what you love, the doors open. And when we practice Qigong and Tai Chi, we are aware of, we have our intuition is on, and we are aware of opportunities. And so, for example, I sat next to a woman from the local Access TV show. She said, Jessica, you need a TV show. I never wanted a TV show, never thought about it. All of a sudden, I had a TV show. Then I was like, semester at sea called. We needed an onboard Tai Chi teacher. It just kept flowing.
Wow.
So, and then I met some wonderful other teachers, Dr. Kathleen Boyson, who is actually a friend of Dr. Yonka. She's a Dr. Oriental medicine and trained me in 5 element theory and emotional healing, which
Mm.
I really need. Don't we teach what we need to learn? Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that became a big part of what I did. Um, Learning different forms. And so physically, I learned about acupressure points. And I can proudly say I was not sick. I didn't even have a sniffle or cold for 15 years because of Qigong. The squeezing, the lymphatic squeezing, the acupressure points, deep breathing, reducing stress. Then I did, even though I had the COVID vaccines, I managed to get COVID.
Oh,
But what I really found so I was able to heal my emotional, mental state. I was able to let go of fear of the future. I was able to let go of anger towards a parent. And as you know, but maybe not everybody knows, we start with the physical, we start with the tangible. That's why we practice movements and breathe. We start to heal the body. And then once we understand how energy works and that how we can transform energies, we work on the middle dantian, which is the emotional, mental energy elixir field. So that's where I was for a long time, healing myself and helping others. And then after a while, all of that stuff just melted away. And this third upper dantian, the spiritual realm, opened up to me, where I was very aware of my spirit, very aware of my connection to spirit, to learn how to love myself, appreciate my gifts, and all of that, my uniqueness. And all my best teachers said, Jessica, go for it. Create, improvise, trust yourself. And that has been the best gift of all. And that's what I try to do now, empowering my students to let go of past grudges, or let go of self-image, or let go of self-criticism, and receive and show the world who you are, who your gifts are. And that's what most excites me now. And also, I don't want to say I'm a Taoist, but I read Taoist texts every day, and that has certainly changed my life a lot. And yeah, so yeah, you just never, I didn't see all of this coming, especially leading the trips to China. That's I had a friend called up and she said, "Oh, I'm going to come to China with you." Well, I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And I had met Solo Latauler. We became friends. He's a Taoist scholar and had led trips to China. I'd been on one before with Dr. Roger Yanka, and then all of a sudden I'm leading trips to China with Solo Law. So yeah, what a
It's
crazy, crazy, wonderful life it has opened up for me.
It's so amazing. First, I listen and I write intuitively to retain, and so I want to reflect back a few things. One thing was right away you said I tried a class with my mom. Okay, that's like a really big thing, because a lot of us are moms and we wish our children would, try a class with us. But I really want to say clearly to our viewers and listeners to keep an open mind. This is a modality, something that you could do with a parent or an adult child or a young child, a partner or a friend. It's something that can really benefit a relationship. Then you said, basically, I was 40 when I came to this, not 20, 25, forgive me for saying, but 40 is coming into middle age. And so that's busting another myth where somebody might look at you and be like, my gosh, look at all you've done. Well, you had apparently what you just shared with us, an entire career as an interior designer, a high stress career, etc. And then eventually you came into this. Then you further said that really, really bears repeating here. I took many classes, sometimes 4 or 5 classes a week. That's what we call practice, right? Practice. I practiced. Then you said, I did this for 10 years. For a decade, you were integrating from your teachers, right? You were integrating and like bringing in the practice of what? The practice. And that's a really important point that because of course I know you, I know about you, I've learned from you, which is a gift to me. But anybody who might read your bio, part of how you evolved into what you just said was, it's been a great life, was this evolutionary state of being and really learning energy. So you did indicate that you already knew about energy. You already knew about energy, perhaps from your mom or whatever. And but then when Qigong found you, the way it found me, that's when you began to really like know energy. You knew about energy, and it sounds like you began to know energy. So just for the record, Jessica, every podcast I, bring up my book, and I've done practice episodes with Oli Smith, who's also a trainer with the IIQTC, talking about my experience of how Roger's book found me first, et cetera, and so on. So there's a lot of information here. I want to invite people watching or listening to this to really go back to the beginning and tune in to what Jessica has been sharing with us, because there's a pattern that you yourself might be interested in. Then you talked about that you learned 5-element theory and what? Emotional healing. And you said, eventually we teach what we need to know, right? And so I think that this is really important today, because there is a lot of high emotion, high emotionality, but also B, suppressed emotions. And so your work with the animal frolic, which was hard for me because I'm creative in a esoteric, ethereal way, like mental way, not imagination play way. But the courses you offer and the sessions you teach can help people to rise. Would you say, I should ask a question, to raise their emotion from a kind of depressed, dimmed place?
I would call it transform rather than raise.
Transform.
Because we work with yin and yang, and balance is the pathway and the answer to contentment and peace. And so, Qigong is very practical and give a lot of exercises for the body, for the emotions, and to open ourselves up to spiritual enlightenment. Where when we practice Tai Chi, I consider it more of a dance, a choreographed telling a story. And we working it. I mean, every movement has intention. It's not just looking pretty and moving slowly. We are working our mind. It's very mindful. We are focusing our mind. We're not thinking about what's happening later or what bills we have to pay. It is intense focus. And what a beautiful break for our busy minds, And so at the height of my teaching career, which was before COVID, I was teaching 12 to 15 classes a week, a workshop once a month, and I kind of got on a treadmill, and I couldn't get off. And I know that is true with a lot of people, a lot of teachers. But at the same time, when you are teaching, you are doing your own practice and going deeper.
Right.
Since COVID happened, I had more time to go deeper by myself, within myself. And that was a really, I think that was a big part of the evolution, to be in nature as much as possible. Qigong and Tai Chi are based upon the natural rhythms of nature, and to really go there and be with it. And back to your original question about the shifting the emotions, I remember telling stories, and people would say, "Guys, you really need to get over that, don't you? Why are you hanging on?" Well, it was because I didn't have the tools. And Qigong and Tai Chi gave me these ancient tools that have been practiced for thousands of years to overcome my blocks and what was holding me back from spiritual enlightenment. And I'm just so grateful, and grateful for all the opportunities. I just was in the flow. That's all I can say. I was in the flow. I just was hanging on, going for the ride. Where's it going to take me next? And open-mindedly.
That's so beautiful. Also, just to say I was in the flow is titillating at this time, because flow is not easily come by. Flow is not easily come by right now because you're constantly stopped. Well, for you it is, but for a lot of people, for us, when, we're in it, but we're constantly stopped by, a lot of things that impose on us, 10,000 things, as they say. So we just have another minute, but I want to ask you, if you might be willing, it just popped into my head. One of the things that I learned from you was how sounds can support the body and the organs. I was wondering if we could kind of do a special episode on that, just to introduce that to people.
I would be honored to share that with you, Susan, and your listeners. I would be honored. I love
I'll talk to you offline about that, because the animal piece was harder for me. And even though I highly recommend it, because creativity is one of the windows to the soul, this piece was like, what are we doing here? What's happening? That was completely new to me. And it was very impactful. I suffered a trauma during our session. My husband died during that time. And if I had not been in that level of training, like you said, several days a week for 3 or 4 months, things would have gone very differently for me. But I was very tuned in. I was very centered, and I had those tools to support me. So I really, really know everything that you're saying is true. And I just want to invite our listeners or viewers again to go back and take a piece of paper and a pen, listen to some of the things that are being said today. And if you want, you can just ask yourself with curiosity, how could this work for me? So Jessica, thank you so much. How can people get in touch with you?
They can email me at jessica@jessicataichi.com. You can look at my website, www.qigongsb.com, or I think they can ask you how to get a hold of me.
Yeah.
And I look forward to the vibrational healing. We shake up our organs when we make sounds. There's internal vibration. So there's a lot of healing and transforming going on. So I look forward to that.
I'm already looking forward to that. It's again, part of this, what I call special modality, that is easy, accessible, and effective. So I'll speak with you about that. That's great. All right. So I will also post your website and contact information in the show notes today. I want to thank you. I know that you're a busy person engaged in life, and being well and healthy as I am. I also believe that I have been well and healthy from having a Qigong practice myself. And I'll look forward to seeing you again when we're going to edify out further about sound, vibration, and healing. Okay, Jessica, thank you so much. I'll see you again soon.
Thank you so much, Susan. Good luck with your endeavor. I love it.
Thank you.